We set the router, so it's all good. I see green. I think we're good.
Erase the I. So it's on Google Docs.
I didn't erase the I. No. No, I don't want to do that.
Here.
No, don't put it on. Oh, whatever.
Can't fix it.
All right. Well, let's start this. It's 8 o'clock.
Check. Make sure the stream's working.
Oh, it's working. It's working. It's
hey,
green. It's good.
It's working, everybody.
20 frames a second says it's
20
working.
frames a second. That's not very fast.
I know.
That's even slower than a movie.
I know. We're slower than a movie.
Speaking of movies, it's the Media Boat Podcast. The Media Boat Podcast.
The Meatiest Boat Podcast.
I said that very quickly, so I wanted to slow it down.
The Meatiest Boat Podcast there is.
So that way people who are just listening to us for the first time understand what I said. The Media Boat Podcast. Day is April 25th, 2018. This is episode, I believe, 120. We were wrong last week. Last week was episode 119, I believe.
It was?
This is should be episode 120 this week. We are on our way out of April. By the time that we record next week, we will be firmly in May. So, cue your Justin Timberlake meme. It is almost that time. If you're not familiar with the Media Boat Podcast, here's the breakdown. We are a podcast that talks about movies, television, music, and video games, not necessarily in that order. We talk about news. We talk about stuff we've watched / listened to / played. We talk about all of that and much more.
Wait, did you listen to anything now?
We'll get there.
Okay.
But no.
But no.
My name is Matt. His name is Mike.
I'm Mike. He's Matt. We are the Media Boat Podcast, as he said. And this is a very special episode.
Is it?
This is our preview to the summer movie season.
It is, I guess, by default. Because this will be our last podcast before the Herald Angel of the summer movie season comes out, which, of course, is Marvel's Infinity War.
Infinite War?
The
Infinite War.
Avengers Infinity War, which comes out this week. So get ready for Marvel season. It is upon us.
It's not just Marvel. It's the summer season. Next podcast will be May, and we'll be firmly within summer movies.
So, look forward to that. But we begin here with movies in the movie section, of course, where we always begin, which is the box office numbers from last weekend.
Yeah.
So, first up, we have a new number one of sorts.
You called this.
No,
you said Rampage.
You keep saying that, but no, I did not call this. So, last week we talked about how I thought it was going to be a
Rampage.
Rampage was going to run over, because I thought there was no way that the new movies this week made more money than it did.
Right, and I said that it was going to be the newcomer I Feel Pretty. It could hit 20 million, right?
But we were both wrong.
No.
What did hold over, though, was A Quiet Place.
Returning to the number one
slot. Which has jumped back up to number one this week with $20.9 million. I guess word of mouth has done that movie a service.
Mm-hmm.
Number two coming in is Rampage with just 20. So that makes a $0.9 million difference there. So not too big of a gap.
No, it's a 20-20 split.
I Feel Pretty, your Amy Schumer comedy that debuted this week, is your number 3 movie with $16 million.
You do feel pretty?
I do. I always feel pretty. Your number 4 movie is Super Troopers 2. Yes, that came out at $15 million.
Yes, the crowdfunded Super Troopers 2.
And rounding out your top 5, Truth or Dare with a $7 million debut.
Dare. Truth.
No, I'm not asking you. I'm saying the name of a movie.
Okay.
So you saw one of these movies. You saw I Feel Pretty.
Okay, so we're going to go into my thoughts on I Feel Pretty.
Might as well now.
Yeah.
What did you think about Amy Schumer in I Feel Pretty?
So I saw I Feel Pretty when it came out as a date night.
Yeah.
And this movie works as a date night movie.
Figuratively.
It's figuratively and literally.
Yeah.
It's well done. It's not Amy Schumer's best. Trainwreck is a better film overall. But that's because, as I recently mentioned to someone, it could take you a year to write your first album, but only 2 years to write your second, in terms of musicals or musicians. So Trainwreck is obviously the better because it took a while. There's actually craft behind this. Whereas I Feel Pretty feels like a rush job.
Sure.
There's a lot of pitfalls in it. There's a lot of really eye-soaring moments, but it's not a bad film. It's actually pretty funny in spots. The premise is very flimsy, though.
Yeah.
And that's my big problem with it. Of Amy Schumer's character getting a bonk on the head and thinking she looks pretty now. Basically, gaining instant self-confidence without anything actually happening.
Which is another one of those, like...
Aren't we past this kind of thing?
Well, first of all, that. But second of all, we're supposed to believe that Amy Schumer is not...
Is the ugly girl.
Like, I get that she does that in her own stand-up, too. Like, she's very self-deprecating when it comes to her looks. But, let's be real. Amy Schumer is not a ugly person by any stretch.
Well,
she is attractive.
Yes. I mean,
I don't see...
She puts herself next to Adie Bryant and her friends. And still says she's the ugly one?
Yeah, it's just, it's... I mean, I don't want to also compare anybody either.
Yes.
But what I'm saying is it's the Emma Stone and Easy A problem. Which is we're supposed to believe through this entire movie that she was the unpopular girl.
Yes.
Like, that she's not the pretty one. It's like, no, she's Emma freaking Stone. Somebody in that school would have asked her out.
Yes.
There's no way that would have happened.
Someone finds Emma Stone attractive in high school.
That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, so that's my problem about this premise. From the first time I heard it, I was like, no.
Yeah.
That doesn't. Which is the problem with a movie, because no actress...
It's a suspension of disbelief in the most obscene way. But the movie does do a pretty good job of basically exemplifying self-confidence and how far that can take a person.
Sure, I guess, yeah.
Because that's actually, like, how Amy Schumer feels is juxtaposed to the company she works for, which is a cosmetic beauty company.
Right.
Which is a high-end cosmetic company that they're trying to expand to the mass markets, the general audience. The ugly people.
Sure, yes. Let's call them that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it's not our strongest. It seems like it has its moments, but generally speaking, it sounds like it's not a well put together movie.
No.
It's just its failings seem to be structurally and premise wise.
And if you're not into Amy Schumer's comedy, the humor in this thing is gonna go right over your head or right off your sides and just not hit you.
Just bounce off.
So in a patent media boat scale,
yes,
stream it. It's not as bad as you think it's gonna be, but
don't go out and get excited for this thing.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
It's the unfortunate thing of there's still a lot of problems with this, and it's not something I can give my stamp of approval on.
Fair enough.
It was better than Snatched, if that's anything. A lot of things are better than Snatched.
Fair enough, but what we will hear your thoughts about next week is, of course, Marvel's Avengers Infinity War, which is your one sole release this week, because everything else got out of the way.
Isle of Dogs goes wide this week in the amount of theaters they can grab that Avengers didn't.
But
other than that,
chances are, if you're seeing a movie this week, it will be Infinity War. So there it is. We will be talking all about that next week.
Yeah.
For now,
30 Marvel superheroes all combined into one on-screen battle. Apparently, the final battle is 25 minutes or 25 pages long.
So yeah,
which roughly translates to a minute a page, but it's action scenes,
so
they could go longer
or shorter,
depending on how. Yeah. The thing is going to be. We have to put a number on this.
So what was this year's record?
Well, it's going to be a record break. It should be record breaking.
So what was this year's record?
I think
Black Panther.
Yeah, but I think overall record is at 250.
Okay.
I don't think it can hit it. As much hype is around it.
Why don't we do over under 2?
Oh, it's going to go over 2.
Okay.
It's got to go over 2.
So somewhere between 2...
Let's go 240.
240, alright.
Because I don't think it'll hit the 250, 260.
Alright, what do you take?
Uh,
240.
I'm gonna go over
Will
240.
you take the over?
Yeah.
I'll take the under there.
Because as estimates are putting it around 245, which is just under the record of Star Wars at 250.
Right.
So,
We will.
but this is a 10 years in the making film,
Yeah, that's true. And
whereas Star Wars was a 30 years in the delayed
yeah.
sequel.
It's hard to compare those two things. They're very different things.
But they're Disney.
That doesn't mean
I know.
they're the same thing.
Yeah.
Anyways, but for now, let's move on
All
to movie news. Our first news story has to do with another franchise in cinemas, but this one is animated. DreamWorks has announced that How to Train Your Dragon will be returning, but it will be its last film,
Oh,
the
good.
third film. So, the title to the last film in the series will be How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World.
This is not to be confused with the animated TV show that's going on Netflix, which is a Race to the Edge,
Yeah.
which is also about a hidden world.
Yeah, this is a different hidden world.
Yeah.
So, co-director Dean DeBois will be back to direct the film. He has directed the films with, of course, Chris Sanders, formerly of Disney.
I do not believe Chris Sanders is involved.
His name
in
is
this.
not on this, which makes me think he is not involved in the
Yes,
series
it
anymore.
wasn't mentioned.
Even
so.
though he was the creator of those characters.
Yes.
The story, according to the studio here, sees Hiccup fulfilling his dream of creating a peaceful dragon utopia, and Toothless's discovery of an untamed, elusive mate draws him away. When danger mounts at home and Hiccup's reign as chief is tested, both dragon and rider must make impossible decisions to save their kind.
So this definitely sounds like the end of a trilogy. A moving on from each other. It sounds like.
It seems like they figured out a way to continue that story even after he's become chief of his community.
Yeah. I've heard. Yeah, that's what happened at the end. Dad died, so he became chief.
Yeah. So the film is set to release on March the 1st, 2019, so a year from now. And the animated series on Netflix, by the way, will end this upcoming February.
Guess how long that thing has been running for?
3 years?
6 seasons.
That's a long time. I didn't realize. Oh, that's right, because before it was on Netflix, it was on, like, Nickelodeon, right?
Maybe, I don't know.
I think it was on cable.
Oh.
I think the Netflix seasons are recent.
Okay. But yeah, 6 seasons of
that's
the
insane.
animated series.
That is insane.
Yeah. Alright, moving on.
Moving on to our next story. Our next story has to do with some casting news for you for the new Warner Brothers adaptation of Nancy Drew, based on the book series, of course.
I've wondered why they never did a
Nancy
Drew series. They just couldn't find the right actress.
Maybe. Well, maybe Sophia Lillis is. So, Sophia has been in the past one of the stars of It, last year's It.
Yes, so she was the girl, the successful It.
So yeah, she is going to be the title role. So Nancy Drew herself in Warner Brothers' Nancy Drew and the Hidden Staircase. The movie will be produced by none other than Ellen DeGeneres, Jeff Kleeman, and Chip Diggins, and it will begin filming very soon. The Hidden Staircase was released as a book in 1930 as the second book in the Nancy Drew series, and was made into a film in 1939, directed by William Clemens.
So it's been a while.
You can also see, before the movie debuts, you can also see Sophia Lillis in HBO's 8-episode miniseries drama Sharp Objects, opposite Amy Adams. So get your sharp objects out.
But sharp objects have cricket fences.
What are you laughing at? Because I was doing this.
No. Sharp Objects is the name of a track on Linkin Park's latest album.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I wasn't good at that.
I know you weren't.
Okay.
But you maybe explain it anyways.
I guess. Alright, let's move on to our next
story.
story.
So good for Lilith getting more work there. Well done.
Alright, so we have talked about in the past the controversy surrounding Harvey Weinstein and the ensuing collapse of his company.
And we assumed we were done talking about that.
But guess what? Here's a twist. The story of all this, specifically the New York Times is reporting on this story, the rights of which have been acquired by none other than our buddies over at Annapurna and Plan B, companies that we love talking about on this podcast.
Plan B being Brad Pitt's company.
Correct.
And Annapurna with a lot of these social commentary topics.
So, the story reported from the New York Times by reporters Jodi Kantor and Megan Twohey and editor Rebecca Corbett. This story has already won the Pulitzer Prize in Journalism earlier this month. And now we will get the spotlight treatment. Get it?
Spotlight the film.
Yes. I didn't think we needed to specify.
Oh,
as it will be told in real time, much like Zero Dark 30. Plan B has produced 12 Years a Slave and Moonlight, of course, while Annapurna has produced Detroit and Zero Dark 30, speaking of. The story first ran on October 5th last year. It started the Time's Up and Me Too movements that followed, which led to the ousting of the aforementioned Harvey Weinstein. So, cool.
So now you have to cast Harvey Weinstein in this film.
Oh, God.
Or do you?
Maybe you don't.
Or do you?
No, because it's like Spotlight. It can be about something, not necessarily talk to, like, literally everybody, you know?
Yeah, but even in Spotlight, they had footage.
Yeah.
Or they cast someone in the Archdiocese.
You're right. But yeah, there would be a way where you could do this film without necessarily having to cast it.
Yeah.
Because you could make it about the reporters.
Well, I don't know if it's about the reporters or if it's a... That's the way. You can either make it about the reporting and the reporters, or because it's told in real time.
Yeah.
Go back to it actually happening, or alluding to it happening, and then fast forward.
Yeah. Well, regardless, I mean, they did mention that they have it as it happens in real time, so the jumping back and forth in time would not happen.
No. If you jump forward, you don't jump back.
Okay, well...
It happened, or alluded to that this is what happened, and then you slowly go forward.
Well, this is when I say I'm not a movie maker for a reason, and I have no idea how they're going to do it.
But you are a writer, so you would be able to write.
I'm sure they'll figure it out. Not professionally.
You don't get paid for
that.
I've
never gotten paid for it. All right.
If I gave you $1 for your script, would you?
$1. No.
Speaking of paying for us,
our next story is probably about a place where probably a lot of people are like, "Hey, somebody pay me for this," which is of course CinemaCon. So I'm learning a lot about conventions lately. I feel like there's a convention for literally everything.
Oh, there is a convention.
Today I learned that there's an AutoCon, apparently about cars.
Oh, you went to one.
No, that's not called AutoCon. That's just a car convention.
You went to one in
It's not even really a car. It's not even a convention. It's like a car
show.
It's a show.
It's the auto show.
It's very different.
It's the auto
shows are not conventions.
Well, yeah,
conventions is when it's like his press are there and companies are there. Representatives have booths. That's not a show.
There's a convention for everything.
Anyways.
There's a Guy Fieri convention.
So yes, there's even CinemaCon, which is a con for cinema. It continues, apparently, as we speak. Warner Brothers has brought their Aquaman, Shazam, and Wonder Woman footage. The Conjuring will continue with, quote, The Nun, which I guess is the subtitle of the next
spin-off
movie.
Yeah.
Later this year. They've shown the first trailer for The Jungle Book. Mowgli.
Andy Serkis' The Jungle Book.
Yes.
Origins.
Mowgli, its first trailer. And the first trailer for A Star is Born from director/actor Bradley Cooper, who is going to star opposite Lady Gaga.
But wait, there's more.
But wait, Disney also brought the hype. Marvel stuff, including Infinity War, Ant-Man and Wasp, Captain Marvel, as well as more classical Disney stuff, reimaginings of Dumbo and Aladdin. Animated films such as The Incredibles 2 from Pixar and Wreck-It Ralph 2 from Disney Animation, new trailers for both, and the opening clip from the live-action, in quotes, The Lion King, which we've all been waiting for.
Yes, Jon Favreau's The Lion King.
Which was a shot-for-shot recreation of the classic opening scene from the '94 original.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's great. I mean, I was already excited for this, but the fact that they do a shot-for-shot opening... one is part worrying because are they just going to do a shot for shot? But also, it's very iconic, that opening.
And this was the exact same strategy that they did for Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
The first footage they showed was shot for shot, just like we're giving you a live action version of the animated film.
Right.
Now, my reaction is very different this time because I don't care as much about The Lion King and how they treat it.
Yeah.
So I'm not as mad as I was back. So if people are rewinding the tape and be like, "How come you're not freaking out?" Because that's why. Because I don't care.
Also, if you're rewinding the tape and getting those audio clips, thank you.
I mean,
Thank you so much.
Somebody is dedicating that much time to us. I don't know. They need to make better use of their time.
What do you mean? We're the better use of people's time.
Yeah, okay. All right. So, yeah, that's all cool. Universal also showed up. They showed off Secret Life of Pets 2, which I didn't know was a thing until just now.
With Tiffany Haddish and
Sure. Okay.
Harrison Ford.
Harrison Ford.
In his first animated role.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But not only that, they also showed that Grinch. First footage of First Man, which is a film not animated. We're done with animated.
Yes.
From Damien Chazelle of La La Land and Whiplash fame.
Yes.
You did Whiplash, right?
Yeah, I do Whiplash.
Okay. I double check. I was like, my brain just decided to fart on me. and about Neil Armstrong, first man on the moon.
Not Lance Armstrong?
Not Lance Armstrong, as that article you both said. Also, horror film The First Purge.
That's coming out in the summer.
And yet another reboot of Halloween.
Yes.
Oh,
starring Jamie Lee Curtis.
Oh, really?
Yes,
okay.
that Jamie Lee Curtis.
The same Jamie Lee Curtis.
The same Jamie Lee Curtis.
And
it takes place 50 years
Yep.
after the first Halloween.
And they ended with new trailers for sequels, of course, to Jurassic World, which you know about already, and
Yep.
Mamma Mia, which we know about already.
Yep.
And Glass.
Yes.
Which is, what is Glass? Is Glass the
M. Night Shyamalan?
Yeah, that's the follow-up to Split and Unbreakable, right?
Yes.
Okay.
That is Glass.
And then How to Train Your Dragon, which we just talked about.
Correct.
So that's CinemaCon.
Yeah.
Where is CinemaCon?
Vegas. It's at Caesars in Vegas. It's mainly for movie theaters. And it's a chance for the studios and theaters to mingle and make deals and then, like, talk about MoviePass and why it sucks to each other.
Probably.
But everyone has one, so they have to
complain about Netflix.
Plan out streaming services and Netflix, yeah.
Cool.
And for the studios to showcase, hey, this is what's upcoming.
Yep.
You better play our stuff. It's gonna be good. Gonna make you money.
Probably.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Wrap up movies real quick. Did you watch anything? Any movies?
Besides, I Feel Pretty.
I Feel Pretty. Anything on TV, streaming? Anything?
No.
I got nothing either.
I don't think so.
I watched Winter Soldier, but that's old news.
Yeah, I was gonna watch the Super Duper Troopers.
Super Troopers.
I didn't even get around to it though.
No.
I was gonna go last night, but then we ended up going to Chili's instead.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah,
we'll live. All right, let's move on then to television. We always start the television section with sports.
And it's finally here.
It's finally here this weekend, or sorry, Thursday technically, tomorrow. NFL Draft begins. The schedule is out now, so you can check out when your favorite NFL team is scheduled to make their picks.
No, that is the NFL schedule.
Oh, I'm sorry. The schedule is out, so you can see
for the upcoming
when
season.
they play.
Yeah, so you can see who's coming home, what games you can possibly go to or travel to.
Yeah.
Start making those plans now. But yes, you can also see when your team gets draft picks. There's betting pools going around right now of which quarterback will the Browns take first.
Because the Browns always take a quarterback?
Well, no, because the Browns have the first and third pick.
Right.
So there's like 4 quarterbacks that they're vying for, that they have the option of, between Baker Mayfield, Josh Rosen, the Darnold, and Josh Allen.
The Darnold.
The Darnold. He's going to be huge.
Man.
Believe me.
Stop that. Stop that right now.
He's from USC.
No! Shut. Alright. Also in sports, it is round 2 of the NHL and NBA playoffs. So if your team's still there, good for you, because all ours are gone.
Yeah. Our teams got swept
We talked about that last week, so we won't dwell on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so if you are a fan of hockey or basketball, keep watching. I'm sure it'll be exciting.
Also, if you're a fan of baseball, baseball's still happening.
Baseball's still happening, but we have exciting news in the world of pitching. The Oakland A's pitcher, Sean Manaea, has thrown the season's first no-hitter. That happened against the Red Sox.
It's about time.
Congratulations to Sean.
Yeah.
Also, speaking of the Red Sox, Brandon Belt, which is a great name, from the Red Sox, recorded the longest at-bat at their game against the Angels.
Guess how long that at-bat was?
5 minutes.
In terms of pitches.
Oh, I don't know. How many is possible? Because eventually, don't you just walk them?
Or strike him out. But if you keep fouling it off...
I guess.
Fouling it off.
Okay, what was it? Just tell me. I don't know.
Okay, it was 13 minutes long.
13 minutes long. How many pitches?
21 pitches.
21 pitches for one person.
For one person.
Tiring that man out. Man.
Now, granted, those are 21 pitches added to the pitcher's count as well.
Who's pitching for the Angels?
I don't know, Skaggs.
I was going to say, is it Skaggs? Sounds like Skaggs.
Skaggs.
Anyways.
So
that will do it for sports. Yep. So yeah, exciting sports things.
That's a record. That's a record.
Yeah. All right, moving on to sports and into television news proper. First up, they're more of a movie studio, but they also do TV productions. Lionsgate. They are currently in negotiations to buy TV production studio 3 Arts Entertainment.
These are the comedy people.
Yeah, at 50%, with an option to buy the remaining 50% in 5 years. And a deal worth $300 million plus. The management/production leadership would be staying put after the acquisition. Current productions of 3 Arts, in case you're wondering, include It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yes.
To decipher the acronym.
Oh, yes.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Silicon Valley, The Good Place, and many, many more.
I think they also do Kimmy Schmidt.
Yeah.
Broad City, I think.
They do Broad City.
Louis.
Yeah.
Baskets.
So a lot.
Yeah, they do a lot of comedy stuff.
Lionsgate seeks the purchase as a way to get closer to talent and expand their library offerings. This is smart. They're not really necessarily known for television as much as they are for film.
Yeah.
And if they are, it's mostly drama. So getting into comedy space will be good for them.
This also gives them a better offering should they do their own streaming service.
Yeah.
Or go to the table with more offerings for streaming services.
So yeah, that could be pretty lucrative for them.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to our next story. Utopia. What does that sound like to you? When I say the word utopia, what do you think?
I think dystopia, because utopia is not a thing. Or at least in this...
Wow. Commentary.
At least in this day and age.
Well, what if I told you Utopia exists, and it's a show that Amazon Studios is going to make?
Oh, well, I know of Utopia, the UK show.
Well, let's find out what this is. This is the same thing. The Amazon Studios has given a 9-episode straight-to-series order for the cult British classic by Gillian Flynn. It was previously at HBO with David Fincher before being caught in development hell because of Fincher's schedule. And he likes his movies and stuff.
Fincher doesn't ever commit to anything.
Utopia, by the way, follows a group of young adults who meet online that are mercilessly hunted by a shadowy deep state organization after they came into possession of a near mythical cult underground graphic novel. What? Wait, why do they care about a comic book?
I don't know, but that's what it is. People love this show Utopia. Ask Malia about it. I bet she knows about what Utopia is.
Okay, weird. I don't know about that. Moving on.
Yeah.
Okay, you thought Utopia was a weird name, or at least I did.
All right, here it is.
Here's
Pen 15.
Name. Pen 15. Now, what's your familiarity with the Pen 15 Club? Were you ever a member?
No, but I tried to get people to sign up for it.
See, I was definitely probably a member at some point. I think it was written on something I owned at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, that's a dumb thing. But it's also the name of a new show. A show that will be a Hulu exclusive about what real-life 13-year-olds are actually like.
I'm going to put huge quotes around this thing.
Actually,
Because as Seth Meyers says, This is obviously teen slang and not a 40-year-old writer.
Of course, right? So, this will be written and starring Maya Erskine, who's, I guess, the girl from Casual, the daughter, I'm guessing. The daughter. And Anna Conkle, who's in the show Rosewood.
Yes. Both of them were also in Man Seeking Woman in special appearances.
Got it. So, and guess what? It will be executive produced by some of our favorite people over at the Lonely Island.
And this is why it's on our show.
So this is I guess their second attempt at doing this after Alone Together on Freeform, which I still have not heard what the fate of that show has been.
It's in limbo? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a bubble show.
I would say that is the most bubbly of bubble shows. I could easily see that. Just getting tossed. It was fine. I think it had potential. I think there's a potential comic voice there. But man, was I up and down depending on the episode of that show. Some episodes really worked. Some episodes did not work at all.
Some of them went to be better. Sheared straight into millennial culture. Like hard into it.
Some of it just was not great.
Yeah.
Anyways, but we're not talking about that show. So yeah. Pin 15 does not say when this will premiere. I'm guessing later this year?
I'm guessing so. It's a high school show, so it should be very, very easy to film.
Guess we'll find out. Lastly, in TV news, we have one other new show to talk about, which is just equally as bizarre. Do you like Fast and Furious?
Yes.
The movies? Well, would you like if it was animated?
Does it star my favorite characters?
What if I told you it didn't?
Then no, I don't care. Then no, I don't care.
Well, there is an animated Fast and Furious spinoff on its way to Netflix from the DreamWorks animation team. The series will follow Tony Toretto, Dom's cousin.
Oh, you mean the aforementioned, never mentioned?
Yes,
cousin?
never mentioned Tony Toretto. When he and his friends are recruited by a government agency to infiltrate an elite racing league, serving as a front. Guess what? There's a front
of an evil organization?
Of a nefarious crime organization bent on world domination.
This sounds like Speed Racer.
It really, really does. Tim Hedrick, who apparently was writing Voltron.
I like Voltron.
Will serve as the showrunner, so there you go.
So I like Voltron. Maybe it's
I can see the same kind of vibe for this thing.
Yeah.
Kind of like, not necessarily aimed towards younger kids, but aimed towards older kids, like Voltron is. I could 100% see that being the target audience for the show. It's an ensemble show. I can see that working.
So I'll give
fast cars.
Because of him, and I like his storytelling.
Give it a chance.
I'll give it a shot. I'll watch the first 2 episodes because it'll be like a long opening movie pilot thing.
Okay.
It's his style. So I'll give it 2 episodes. And then decide from there. Because it could be interesting, but it could also be dumb and stupid.
It's true. Just like life.
And just like Fast and Furious movies.
That's also true. I still didn't finish Fate of the Furious. I just couldn't do it.
Wait, you walked out?
No, I was watching it on HBO here at home, and I literally stopped it. You can even go on HBO and show my
I was wondering why I was halfway through
because I could not do it. Because every line of dialogue in that movie is so stupid. I could not keep myself from just laughing at it. Because there's a certain level of stupidity that works for me in those movies, but this one crosses that line really fast.
So
every single thing anybody says is so freaking predictable and so dumb.
So your line is between 7 and 8?
Yes, that's where my line is apparently. I thought 7 wasn't that great either.
I know, but you were able to watch it though.
Yeah, I was able to finish 7. Also, it helped I saw it in the theater.
Alright, so let's move on and then let's cancel some shows.
Let's cancel some shows. It's cancellations and renewals. First up, Homeland.
Is that still going?
Well, guess what? Not for long. After next year's 8th season, yes, 8th season of Homeland. After the 8th season of Homeland is done. It will be canceled after its 8th and final season.
I could barely stomach the first season. I'm surprised they're able to keep going.
There you go.
Maybe life finally caught up with the art.
Maybe. Next up, 7 Seconds on Netflix will be canceled after just 1 season.
Okay, so I guess I don't need to watch that then.
Guess not. Genius will return for a 3rd time.
Yes, it's 2nd season of Pablo Picasso with Antonio Banderas premieres next week, I believe.
The third season on Nat Geo will be about Mary Shelley. Frankenstein.
The writer of Frankenstein.
Yes. Frankenstein fame. Pretty cool.
Yeah, they did mention in interviews that they wanted to do a female for a third season.
So there you go.
So there we go. I believe they wanted from Marie Curie, but I guess
maybe this is a more interesting story.
More interesting.
Cool. Next up, CBS's Living Biblically. Now, this is neither a cancellation nor a renewal. It is a mystery, as Living Biblically, the new, relatively new sitcom, has been pulled from their schedule.
Is that a comedy?
Yes, it is a comedy.
Okay.
Yes, it's about, I guess it's based loosely on a book where somebody was like, I'm going to live exactly by the rules of the Bible.
And so he sold his daughter for 15 pieces of silver.
Yeah, well. But yeah, I don't know how the TV show approaches it, but apparently it's loosely based on that. So a character in the show decides to live his life biblically.
Oh, okay.
Hence the name. But yeah, it's been mysteriously disappeared from CBS's schedule. No word on its cancellation quite yet. But don't be surprised if this is on the cutting block.
If they just dump all the episodes in summer where no one's watching.
You mean CBS All Access?
Yes.
You said where no one's watching.
In the summer, yeah.
Anywhere, anytime. Really.
Anytime on the CBS Access.
Next up, Ash versus the Evil Dead. Canceled after the third season on Starz.
Yes, and furthermore, Bruce Campbell has gone on the record, when you hear about the news that it was canceled, that he will officially retire the character of Ash and will not be reprising that role ever.
That's kind of sad.
He says ever. Well, you're going to hold him to that.
Yeah, we'll see how long that lasts.
Yeah.
Next up, and you thought Homeland has run for a long time. Here's some trivia. How long do you think Grey's Anatomy has been on the air? How many seasons?
It's on its final 14th, right?
Well, guess what?
What?
The 14th season will not be, as previously reported, the final season of Grey's Anatomy.
But they've been advertising the final season.
Well, guess what? They're all liars. Because there will be a 15th season of the Grey's Anatomy on ABC.
I know. And this will actually make it the longest running drama, or not daytime, primetime drama.
That's insane.
When it premieres.
That is insane.
As soon as it crosses that episode, and enters 15th season, it will officially become the longest running primetime drama.
So I'll praise your overlord of Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah.
Alright. Next up, The Last OG, which just premiered, I believe.
Yes, the Tracy Morgan's
show on a TBS. Will get a second season. So will TBS's Search Party, which I've heard is really, really good.
Okay.
And I haven't started watching that thing, but apparently it's a crazy little show. It will be renewed.
Okay.
So the next one, though, has been canceled. The Path on Hulu will be canceled after its third season.
Okay.
All right.
Wait, before we go into deaths...
One more. HBO's Here and Now will be canceled after one season.
Oh.
So there you go.
Before we go into deaths, were you watching any TV?
MTV?
Any TV?
Oh.
Any new TV? Any new TV to report on?
No.
Okay, well...
We should have talked about that before the segment.
I know, but real briefly, American Idol is in its top 10. You can now vote on both East Coast and West Coast at the same time.
Yeah, they're doing it live everywhere.
Apparently it's on a Sunday, so that doesn't involve people getting home from work.
I guess, but still.
I've also recently watched Snoop Dogg presents The Joker's Wild.
Oh, right.
That is a dumb show.
What were you expecting?
That is a dumb show of dumbness.
I'm not really sure what you wanted from that.
I don't know what I was expecting, but it did not meet that. It was a dumb show. All right. Now, let's put that show out of its misery, and let's see who died.
All right. This week, we have a trinity of deaths here. All three kind of heavy, man. First up is Swedish electronic musician and DJ Avicii.
Yeah, this one surprised the hell out of everyone.
Yeah, this one was a shocker. So, Avicii, of course, famous from the hit song Levels, and what's the other one?
Oh, Brother, or Hey Brother.
And Wake Me Up.
Wake Me Up.
Wake Me Up is the other one. But yeah, the DJ was found dead, age 27.
Yeah,
Super
dead
young.
in Oman.
And
And everyone
Oman?
and a lot of teenagers looked up where that was.
Yeah, a lot of people found out about Oman this week.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a sad one. I remember one of our close friends. I remember him talking about Avicii before he was called Avicii. He was way into his very early single.
Yeah.
He was still an artist going by his birth name. And yeah, I remember he was obsessed with that guy for a while. And he loved Levels when it came out too. And then it became a hit.
Yeah,
And then
and
it
then
was
he
like,
hated it.
oh wow. He still loved it. He was all of a sudden hating
Yeah.
it when it became popular. But it was definitely one of those moments where it was like, wow, this thing that we thought was really niche is now on Top 40 radio.
Yeah. He was also one of the DJs that brought electronic music to pop.
I mean, yeah, you could argue that that's not necessarily a great trend happening in EDM, but he was one of the people spearheading it, basically saying, hey, I can team up with pop stars and make these really huge hit songs and also be an EDM person. So yeah, he made
I never told you I saw him in concert, did I?
Oh, no.
Well, I went to EDC. He was playing there.
And as we all know, what's his name took a pill in Ibiza to show Avicii he was cool.
Yes.
So
My poser.
yeah, so there you go.
Poser. Poser. Yeah.
So there you go. So yeah, he will be missed, I'm sure.
Yep.
Next up, another person who will be missed, Vern Troyer, of course, actor from movies such as Austin Powers and Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Mini-Me in Austin Powers,
Yes.
of course. Has passed away age 49.
Yes.
Did you see what the cause was for this? I didn't seem to track that down.
Well, I know Avicii died via pancreas.
Kidney, liver?
Yeah, I think it was pancreas, kidney, liver, something internal.
But Vern Troyer, did you happen
was
to see that?
just health issues, completely just health issues. He was short in stature.
Sure.
Those people.
It's not a genetic lottery
it's-
that you win. Typically.
Yeah, typically you have a shortened lifespan
Yes.
because due to that.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
He was surrounded. I did read that he was in the hospital and on life support and then taken off
Okay.
per his wishes, and then was surrounded by family and friends.
All right. Okay.
But yeah.
But yeah, he will definitely be missed. I'm sure that's one of the more memorable characters from a comedy, I think, ever.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a sad one. Lastly, not as widely reported, but I still think notable enough. Bob Doro, age 94, the creator of everyone's favorite Schoolhouse Rock.
Yeah. Schoolhouse Rock, probably
Yeah.
not as prevalent today.
Now, like if you ask probably a 13-year-old if they know what Schoolhouse Rock is, they probably, 50-50 will probably tell
Yeah,
you.
50-50.
But our generation ended before.
Yeah, if you grew up in the 80s, 90s, and today's...
Well, I mean, earlier than that, too.
Yeah.
Like, Schoolhouse Rock has been a staple of teachers who want to show a quick video in class to say, hey, here's a thing that there's a video of Schoolhouse Rock of that'll help you remember. Like, it covered...
My conjunction junctions.
Everything from...
What's my function?
From grammar to
math to
learning
legislation.
how a bill is passed.
Yes,
It's a
bill
law.
on a Capitol Hill.
And
magic threes. Unpack my adjectives.
math and
Yeah.
vocabulary and
There's magic number. Yeah.
geography and American history. Yeah,
Yeah.
so many topics and all fun sing along songs and cool visuals. Trippy 60s psychedelia.
Yeah.
It's just fun. It's just straight fun. So if you have a kid that hasn't seen Schoolhouse Rock stuff, show them some old Schoolhouse Rock.
I kind of want to put some on right now.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a YouTube playlist out there, just like all the classics right there. So do that in honor of Bob. Yeah.
And you'll learn a few things
You'll
along
learn
the
something
way.
along the way, indeed.
Yeah.
That will do it for our cancellations, renewals, and deaths.
So it's time to kick out your hit kicks on Route 66.
No.
Oh, no.
It's not.
Oh.
It is time to talk about the Billboard because it's time to talk about music.
All right, so who's on top?
So we go into our Billboard charts. Your first chart is, of course, your Hot 100, which is your singles chart.
All the single charts?
All the
single
your
charts.
eligible bachelors. No, I mean singles like songs. Your number one song in the country is still
Drake.
Nice for What by Drake.
Drake's.
Your number two is still God's Plan by Drake. Number 3 is still Meant to Be by BB Rexa and Florida Georgia Line, not Drake.
It's meant to
Number
be.
4.
It's meant to be. It's meant to be.
Okay.
I've been listening to that song.
Number 4 is Psycho by Post Malone featuring Ty Dolla $ign. Dolla $ign. And rounding out your top 5, moving up into the top 5, I think for the first time, congratulations, The Middle by Zedd and Maren Morris and Gray.
Wait, you mean Maren Morris featuring Zedd?
No, it is credited to Zedd first, but it features Maren Morris.
I know, but depending on what side you come on.
To be fair, no one is featured. Technically, the Billboard chart here references Zedd, Maren Morris, and Gray on the same level. Nobody is featuring.
Okay.
That's cool. So they're all credited for that song.
And depending on what side of the music world you come on, you'll know one or two or both.
It's true. One of the while we're on the subject of The Middle, I read an article today, or yesterday about how apparently it was shopped around to several artists before Maren Morris.
Oh.
Apparently,
okay.
Carly Rae Jepsen was even considered for it, along with a few others. But yeah, it apparently went through several hands who all had to turn it down for one reason or another.
Okay.
But moving on to your 200, which is your albums chart. Your number 1 album is debuting at number 1, Rearview Town by Jason Aldean. Takes the top spot this week.
All That Country.
Number 2, moving down a spot, Invasion of Privacy by Cardi B. Ember by Breaking Benjamin, yeah, they're still a band, is number 3. Number 4 is The Greatest Showman soundtrack. And number 5,
still
The Tree of Forgiveness by John Prine. That is your top 5 in Billboard.
I'm realizing now that The Greatest Showman is this year's Moana.
It 100% is this year's Moana.
Alright, so let's get into some news.
No, before that we have upcoming releases.
Oh yes,
this
releases.
Friday is quite a Music Friday. There's something for everybody here.
Alright, what do you got?
Among the releases, we have Godsmack with Legends Rise. When Legends Rise, sorry. We have Grouper with Grid of Points. Janelle Monáe with Dirty Computer. Keith Urban with Graffiti U, the letter U.
Yes, that
Graffiti University?
Yes, Graffiti University.
I don't want to take a class about graffiti from Keith Urban. He wouldn't know.
You're right. You'd rather take from Banksy.
No, I would not.
No.
Post Malone with Beer Bongs and Bentleys. I'm guessing the beer bongs are not inside the Bentley because it's one really quick way to ruin your Bentley.
I think you just get details.
The one I'll be listening to this week, Speedy Ortiz with Twerpverse. That will be their 3rd LP. And lastly, Willie Nelson with Last Man Standing.
Yeah, he kind of is, isn't he?
Oh, he's still standing.
Yep.
Thanks to all that weed. Okay, let's move out of new releases. And let's talk about the elephant in the room here.
One
of our favorite subjects in the Media Boat podcast history has reared his head once again and become public in a way that he hasn't since the last probably over a year ago.
I mean, when he was talking about Pablo.
Yeah.
And the life he lived.
Yes. So let's talk about Kanye West.
All right, it's Kanye time.
All right. So first of all, we'll start with the news part of this.
All right.
We'll end with the kind of not so great stuff.
So here's the bulk of the news. New Kanye album.
So there is now confirmed 2, not 1, but 2 new albums that will feature Kanye West, and he's announced them himself in his return to Twitter. He has announced a 7-track solo album that is due June 1st, and just a week later he will have a collaboration album with Kid Cudi on June 8th.
Didn't they hate each other?
So they did at one point, then they got back together, and now they're cool, and now they're recording as a band called Kids See Ghosts.
Okay.
Kids See Ghosts.
Sure.
He showed off some concept art for these guys. And,
yeah, I saw that.
Talked about the album. So yeah, we haven't confirmed, at least through Kanye's words. And as of today, on Twitter, he apparently claims, quote, he has no manager. He manages himself, unquote. So who knows what any of this means anymore.
Sure.
He's just able to say stuff, and I guess it happens.
Yeah,
So we'll see if this even happens. But he also, not only that, he also announced 2 other people's albums on his Twitter.
Okay.
He has a Pusha T album that will be released on May 25th, and a Tiana Taylor album on June 22nd. These are 2 people who are both on his Good Music label, and people who he's collaborated with in the past. So it makes sense that he would know. So those will probably happen.
Yeah.
But the other news about him is that he's also gone on Twitter to say all sorts of crap, including his continued affinity for our president, including
Dragon's Soul.
He said something about being Dragon Brothers or Dragon Energy. They have Dragon Energy. And referred to Trump as his brother, quote unquote. He says that he also likes Hillary. He says that if somebody would he would never tell somebody to not like Hillary Clinton. And he said, even though everybody is telling me I shouldn't like Donald Trump. This is the kind of thinking that he's doing these days. He was also tweeting a whole string of tweets that I guess were excerpts from his upcoming philosophy book, which is another thing he announced this last week.
Oh, yeah, he's been working on it, and he'll get around to publishing it when I get the chance.
When he gets the chance. He also showed some new shoes in his Yeezy line. He's been all over the frickin' place.
What cost more, his shoes or his white cotton t-shirt?
I don't know. Probably the shoes.
And he also say the shirt.
He also tweeted a picture of him wearing a "Make America Great Again" cap. So this is the level of Kanye we're on right now.
Does he have a kid? Does he have a wife?
He has.
Doesn't he have like
2
priorities?
He has 3 children, I think. Right? Didn't they get a third one?
Did they get a? Oh yeah, the surrogate third one.
Yeah, the surrogate third. Who has not been the name has not been revealed.
Yeah, they have Saint
and
North.
North was the first one.
Yes.
Nori.
Yes. Saint West.
Saint is the boy.
Yeah.
And then they have not revealed the name of the third child.
Yes.
But yeah.
The surrogate third.
The funniest one though was that there was a tweet where he was like, "Hey, so I'm tweeting this because Kim called me and told me to tell everybody this. I don't 100% agree with Trump, but I don't 100% agree with anyone except myself."
That's the most Kanye thing ever.
So, I have to admit, in the past, I have defended Kanye West. I might be done defending Kanye West. I can't do it anymore. He's crossed some lines with me now.
Now you're going to cross a line through his name?
I just give up. I had to unfollow him on Twitter. He's just like, I cannot deal with this week. This is way too much crap. So yeah, I will not be going to bat as eagerly as I have been in the past for that man. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
All right.
Moving on.
However,
However, somebody who will not quite have as crazy as a legacy as Kanye will is the late Prince.
Yes. We're going to get some closure on this.
We are.
Maybe.
Tomorrow at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time, prosecutors in Minnesota County, where Prince died, will now announce a decision on criminal charges following a 2-year investigation into the musician's death from an accidental fentanyl overdose. Carver County Attorney Mark Metz will make the announcement just over 2 years since Prince died on April 21st of 2016. The toxicology report and autopsy showed a concentration of fentanyl in Prince's blood, which outside experts called exceedingly high at 67.8 micrograms per liter.
And we've already covered all this.
Yeah.
This is just, will they charge anyone?
Right. Before that unveiling, Prince's estate has filed a wrongful death suit against the drugstore chain Walgreens and an Illinois hospital where the singer was treated, then released the week before his death. The attorneys allege that Trinity Medical Center in Moline, Illinois, failed to appropriately diagnose and treat his overdose. So that's kind of the breaks about that. So we'll hear tomorrow whether they actually do file those criminal charges or not.
Right.
Lastly, in Prince news, some happy news: an original recording of "Nothing Compares to You," his song that was famously covered by Sinead O'Connor, was revealed. So an early demo of that song, if you want to hear that.
Yeah.
So check that out.
So some bad, some good, some Prince in your life.
Always mixed. Always mixed. With, these
but we'll
stories.
finally try and close the chapter on this thing. The state's suing just like they did with the Michael Jackson case. I think they ended up winning that, right?
They did. There were criminal charges filed, I think, against the doctor.
O'Connor?
Yeah, whatever his name.
Yeah. And he did serve, or he was sentenced to jail.
I believe,
yeah. Yeah. So we'll see if the same thing happens here. Maybe? You think so?
Maybe. I don't know if there's enough.
Yeah.
But we'll find out.
Well, we'll find out.
All right, let's move on to another famous pop star who's not dead, Madonna.
Still?
Madonna has lost a court bid. What do you mean still? She's still alive? Of course she is. Nothing crazy has happened to Madonna. But she has lost a court bid.
I'm sorry. Have you seen Madonna's life?
Alright. Yeah, be nice. She has lost a court bid to stop a former friend from auctioning off intimate items, including her love letters and a hairbrush with strands of her hair.
Yeah.
A New York judge presiding over the case has stated that the statute of limitations to recover her items had passed, and the auction will still go ahead in July. Items include these letters between her and Tupac, get this, about a secret relationship they had in 1995. Darlene Lutz and Madonna settled a legal dispute in 2003 over artwork, and Madonna signed a release from any and all future claims against her former friend, and as such, she can no longer sue over those items subject to auction.
Yes.
So, if you respect Madonna, maybe don't take part in this auction.
Or if you're obsessed with Madonna, y'all are going to take part and
do it anyways.
Money for this stuff. Yeah, apparently Madonna and Tupac had a secret relationship.
I mean, sure, why not?
Yeah. It was never public because, according to one of the letters, according to Tupac in one of the letters, it would severely help Madonna's career, but severely hinder his.
Yeah, I mean...
For dating a white woman.
At the time, at the time I could easily see that had been a controversial part of an already controversial life for Tupac. Alright, moving on to our last story here in television.
Movies, music.
But the BBC, which we're watching right now, actually.
Yes, the BBC.
The BBC. So they have made 16,016 sound effects available to you in WAV format to download for use under the terms of the RemArc license.
Yep.
You were going to say something?
Yes. This is the free stuff.
Yeah.
This is basically VFX in its most basic format.
These sound effects are, of course, BBC copyright, but they may be used for personal, educational, or research purposes as detailed in that license. So you can't use them for anything that you would be paid for, is what it's saying.
Yes, you can download it. You can make them in YouTube videos. You just can't monetize them.
Got it.
But if you want to do it for fun and on the side, like a lot of young people start doing for creative purposes, then go ahead. Go right ahead.
Yeah, these sound effects range from gunshots to closing doors to crying dolls. And many more sound oddities. So go check that out if you're making a project for school or something.
Yeah, 16,000
That's a lot of sounds
to go through. A lot of them are just a minute looping, so you can like loop it. Yep. But the sounds are looping, and there's several different sounds.
Also, I like how we're including news about sounds in the music section now.
Yeah.
I just had to remind myself, that was music.
Yeah, that was music.
All right.
It's audio.
Well, that's it for music.
Yep.
So let's move on to video games.
Wait, did you listen to anything?
No, I don't think so. I'm trying to remember.
I thought you said you did.
No, I'm trying to think.
Okay.
No, I don't think I did. This week, though, I have a couple things I'm going to listen to, so I will report back.
Well, I have a couple things I'm going to listen to, too. A couple days of music.
You have days of music.
Days
so
and days of music.
Briefly want to talk about... You'll be talking about this next week when you come back, but you are going to attend Stagecoach Music Festival.
It is Stagecoach 2018.
Yep.
Garth Brooks, somehow they paid enough for him to come out.
Yep, somehow.
Garth Brooks, Florida Georgia Line with BB Rexa and their hit song, If It's Meant to Be, It's Meant to Be, It's Meant to Be, Baby Let's Let It Be. And then Keith Urban with his new album out on Saturday, Friday as well.
You're going to learn how to do some graffiti.
Yeah, some graffiti you. So I think Keith Urban actually performs on Friday. So when his album drops, he'll be up there singing later that night.
Cool.
Yeah. But yeah, other people, what I'm looking forward to is Casey Musgraves.
Yeah.
As we have previously reported on this show, this podcast, we are in love with that new album, Golden Hour. It's a near perfect album. I've listened to that thing through and through.
A lot.
I've got my girlfriend hooked on it now.
Yep.
She's really on top of the high horse.
She's on her
high horse.
So you'll have to report back to how awesome it is out there.
Yep.
All the cool stuff you see. You're gonna have to take pictures.
You're
just gonna be super far away.
I may not take pictures. I know Doctor will take plenty of pictures.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right, so you'll be talking about that experience next week.
Yep.
But first, let's talk about video games.
All right, new releases.
New releases. This
Not a
week
whole
for
lot.
Video games, just a few. Your big game came out last week, which we'll talk about later.
Yeah, we'll talk about that at the end.
But some catch-up releases here. If you're a Switch owner, you finally get to play South Park Fractured But Whole. You also get to play Runbow on Switch as well as PS4. Emily Wants to Play 2 is out on PS4.
Yeah, that's 2 also.
2.
Or 2
also.
the sequel.
And Late Shift on Switch.
Late Shift is the live-action choose-your-own-adventure.
Yeah, it's like an FMV game.
Yeah.
All right. That's it for new releases. Next up, we have video game news. Our first news story has to do with the company that brought you Firewatch, Campo Santo.
Campo Santo.
So they are in the news this week because they have been bought by none other than game and marketplace entrepreneurship, Valve. So Valve, of course, they run Steam. They're also famous for, I don't know, some Half-Life game.
Well, no, not a whole life, just a half.
They have picked up the team at Campo Santo, and they will continue making their current project, which is In the Valley of Gods, which was shown off during the Video Game Awards.
Right.
Which looked really cool. That was the Egypt-themed adventure game, which looks super awesome.
Yes, the Lost in a Temple,
Yeah.
or in the pyramid type
Which
thing.
will probably be fairly similar to Firewatch, but what will probably involve a lot more puzzles, if I was to guess. So, that will be under the Valve umbrella. That game will still be released and will still continue as planned. But yeah, it'll have Valve's big push behind it, which will be awesome.
Yep, it's going to be a Valve release, but just know that the Campo Santo guys are the main backers behind it.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Next up, we have news about Hearthstone and the people who make it.
Or one of the persons who made it.
Ben Brody. Ben Brody.
Ben Brody.
Known as the face of Hearthstone, will be leaving Blizzard. He has been at Blizzard for 15 years, starting when he was 20 as a Nightcrow game tester. And he joined the Hearthstone team when it started development in 2008. He will be starting his own company, probably making games, but hasn't figured anything else out yet. He says, I'm looking forward to designing, programming, and actually creating things again.
I think he's tired of updating Hearthstone.
Yeah, doing the same thing over and over again for years, I'm sure.
Yeah. But he has made a name for himself, which is good. He was an announcer, esports announcer for Blizzard, part of the team, like you said, that brought Hearthstone to the masses. Cool.
Yeah.
I mean,
good for him.
Looking forward to see what we're doing.
New Horizons for the man.
Yeah.
All right, moving on.
That's
our
a
next
great
story
company.
here.
It's called
New Horizons. Actually, that's not bad.
Yeah.
Next up is some news about Microsoft and Discord.
Yeah.
Microsoft has teamed up with Discord, the popular chat app.
Yes. The gamers
community chat app.
Yeah.
It's more for
it's a website.
Not just for gamers. I've heard businesses using it and all sorts of different communities online. But yeah, they've connected with Discord to connect gamers across Xbox Live in Discord. You now have the option to link your Discord to your Xbox Live account, making it easier to see what your friends are playing and see when you go live. This will be the start of cross-platform chat between Xbox and PC gamers. So, for example,
that's the big news about this
if you're playing Fortnite on the PC on a Discord server, in theory now, somebody who's playing Fortnite on an Xbox can communicate with you.
Yep.
So that's pretty cool.
It's a wonder why we couldn't do this before.
Well, chances are it's because Microsoft, back when they were all about proprietary services, probably had their own proprietary service that they wanted
Skype?
to keep.
Xbox Live?
Wanted to keep in the ecosystem. But Microsoft's now all about inclusivity and making sure everything talks to everything else.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that they would do this now.
Yeah. Also, don't expect this to be a Microsoft exclusive. This may be a time deal, much like the Spotify for PlayStation was. and eventually deal will run out after a year, and then
maybe.
Sony will get in on this.
Maybe, but Sony famously doesn't want PlayStation players to communicate with other platforms.
Yes.
Fortnite does from PS4 to PC and from Xbox to PC, but not from Xbox to PlayStation.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all sorts of messed up. Anyways,
let's bring us to
our
last
and goofiest story.
Glover.
Do you remember Glover?
No, I do not remember Glover. I remember Danny Glover.
What about any other Glovers?
Don Glover.
You mean Donald Glover?
Don Glover.
Donald Glover?
Yeah, Don Glover.
But do you remember the video game Glover?
No. Does it involve a glove?
It does.
Oh, it does?
Glover was this dumb game where you were a glove and you had a ball. And it was a platformer, kind of like a Mario 64 style thing. And the puzzles and the enemy, like, you would solve puzzles and you would defeat enemies by, basically the glove would just throw the ball at stuff. It was weird.
Monkey Ball's a better game.
I rented Glover once upon a 9-year-old life.
Once.
And, yeah,
Once,
I
never
tried
again?
playing it, couldn't figure it out at all, and returned to the Blockbuster.
9-year-old you couldn't figure it out?
But anyways, some people inexplicably have nostalgia for Glover.
Okay.
If you do, the story will be of interest to you. First developed by Interactive Studios and... yeah, I know. What a great name. Interactive Studios. And published by Hasbro Interactive. Yes, believe it or not. The 1999 release for PlayStation and N64 did not receive particularly good reviews and was ultimately... it wasn't canceled. It was released.
It was released. It was a sequel.
A sequel was canceled. But yeah, there was never a follow-up to Glover. However, a small developer, Golden Mushroom Studio, decided that they were going to make a sequel for the Switch. While players were skeptical of the announcement, company Pico Interactive was even more skeptical because they're the ones who actually own the rights to Glover. What do you know?
Well, it's an interesting thing that happens when you try and look up what is copyright
Yeah.
and what is trademarked.
Well, Golden Mushroom Studio set out to license Glover in January, only to find out that the trademark for Glover that Hasbro had registered was no longer active in either the US or Europe, so they decided to register it. However, the copyrights to Glover belonged to Pico, which had purchased Hasbro Interactive in 2001. So, Golden Mushroom Studio did eventually realize that it did not have the rights to make a new Glover, and after talking with Pico, could not come to an agreement on licensing the IP. So, now, instead of a Glover sequel, as they had originally planned, their game will be a spiritual successor to Glover, instead of a direct sequel.
But here comes the problem. Because Golden Mushroom has trademarked Glover for use in any media, that means the IP for Glover cannot use the name Glover in any video game related that it can make.
But, let's be real. Were they ever going to do anything with Glover? Probably not.
I don't know. I mean, it was part of their deal.
Or will they do it now because this happened? It seemed like they were just sitting on the IP. It didn't seem like they were going to do anything with Glover.
But now with the Switch and the handles, I mean, technically, the Wii would have made sense. But now you have the Switch.
I don't know. I don't think they thought that much about Glover, is what I'm trying to say.
No, probably not.
Nobody did. Except for these Golden Mushroom guys who apparently love Glover for no reason. But yeah, so expect to see a spiritual successor to Glover, whatever the hell that might be.
Alright, name the successor to Glover.
Baller.
Big
Produced
Baller.
by LeVar Ball.
Big Baller.
Anyways. Big Baller brand video game. Okay, that's it for video games.
Alright.
But there's one last thing we have to do. We have to talk about God of War.
Alright. We have to talk about God of War.
You've been playing, and I've been watching you play.
Oh, yes.
God of War, the reboot / sequel.
Dad of War.
We've been calling Dad of War
and
jest.
Yes.
Because it's funny. So this is the big PS4 release where it reimagines the world of God of War. Instead of a kind of third-person, zoomed-out view, brawler, beat-em-up game.
Yes, stationary camera.
Into a one-shot... third person up close, narrative focused cinematic game.
Yeah.
So
it's
how are you liking God of War so far?
So, it's different to me.
Okay.
And it's weirder to me. I liked God of War. I liked the stationary cameras that moved when you moved through. I liked the mythology of Greek mythology. As you know, I have a weird obsession.
You have a weird thing about
I have a weird thing. Weird, knowledge.
Yeah.
Like, obsessive knowledge of Greek mythology.
Right. So
I loved the God of War games.
The God of War.
Yes. Then they announced they were making a sequel, and they were going to set it in Norse mythology, and I went,
I was like, I'm not sure
about that. And then they said they were going to give him a son. I'm like, but he already killed his family.
Well,
they did a good job.
Okay.
But let's put the simple thing is this thing is great. This thing is a damn good game. It's like I've very little bad to say about it, but I'm gonna say bad things about it anyways.
Okay.
The main thing being the leveling up system.
All right.
The what was it? The armor. The different pieces of armor that you can upgrade.
Basically,
the upgrade
loot.
system. Yeah. The loot system. I enjoy the open world aspect that they did with it. Very Skyrim-y setting. But I don't like the upgrade system because you're gonna because as with most games, you're gonna find stuff along the way that's better, and so you don't need to upgrade the stuff you already have. And that's my problem with it, or at least with that aspect of the game.
I think that makes sense though to a certain extent because at least it's giving you the option.
Yes.
Because I feel like there's two very different people. There are people who do approach it like you do. It's like, well, I picked this thing that's instantly better. Buy old thing. And then there's the people who are like, no, I don't need this new thing because I put so many points into the thing I already have.
But that's the thing, though, is that, well, I put so many points into this thing, but I know something better is going to come along the way, so I'll save my points for that.
See, there's your problem. Because I could imagine an alternate game like session where you've actually used all your points, and thus your thing might be better than the things you're finding.
Oh, no, see? Also in this game, you gain experience points that you use to upgrade your skills.
Right.
I didn't do that for the first, quarter of the game. So the whole time I'm playing through it, I'm like, man, this is kind of hard. Then I go through my skills, I'm like, oh, I can just buy all these skills, and I, max out a bunch of them. To have all these points saved up.
To be fair, though, the game does not necessarily open up to that kind of gameplay until you're about a few hours in.
Yeah.
It does a pretty interesting thing where the first part of the game is very much a linear progression. It's very much a traditional God of War game. You're not leveling up, you're not upgrading anything, you're not finding loot, and you're not really venturing off the beaten path. It's not necessarily about exploration. Then it opens up.
Then as soon as you get the basics down of, okay, I can go through this dungeon, temple, structure, and loot everything and gain everything, and then come out on the other side, moving the story along.
Yeah.
And then it all of a sudden transitions to, well, this is Norse mythology. We have this elder tree of 9 realms. We're going to give you all 9 realms. Or at least allude to it.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten to the end yet.
Yeah.
But yeah. So that's where I'm at.
You've been introduced to several characters who are recurring now.
Yes.
You have some people who work on your weapons. You have some people who help you progress the story. You have a boat that takes you around bodies of water.
Yep.
You have. It seems like it's fleshing out to be more of a bigger experience.
It's more of an adventure game than a
beat 'em up brawler.
Brawler game.
Combo heavy thing like it used to be.
Yeah. It does give you a combo counter.
Yeah.
But it doesn't imply on that.
There's elements of that kind of fighting, but it's not the focus anymore.
Right.
The focus is very much the story, and the story's pretty good so far.
Yeah, I'm enjoying my time with the boy.
So yeah, we can talk about this. So yeah, of course, as we mentioned, Kratos is traveling with his son
Atreus.
And they have a very father-son relationship in the way where the son He knows some things that the dad doesn't. He knows about the Norse mythology more than he does.
From his mother.
He can read runes that Kratos can't. But he's also naive and inexperienced because of his age. Kratos, on the other hand, is very solemn and serious and is trying to control his anger. And so their dynamic is very much of, like, the boy asking a lot of questions and making Kratos uncomfortable. And Kratos is very much like, no, you do what I say. You're going to learn how to fight. I'm going to teach you. You're going to be safe. I'm going to keep you safe. Like, don't do anything stupid. That kind of thing.
You weren't here for this, but there's that one point in the game where Kratos ventures off on his own and leaves the boy to himself. But when he comes back, the boy is pissed off at his father for basically abandoning him while you don't see all this, but you see the aftermath of bodies everywhere that the boy had to kill. And the boy is upset at the dad. So for the rest of the level, he is just like berating the dad with inane questions like, "Why do I have to do this?
Yeah.
Like, why can't you do this? Or you don't care about me anyways." And at one point he says, I wish it was you instead of mom."
Oh.
And
Ouch.
the boy and Kratos basically rips him. Well, doesn't literally rip him physically, but just silence him by saying that, "Don't mistake my silence for not grieving."
Right.
And that is such a good line. It's very, like, instantly you know what's going on between these two dynamics of characters.
Yeah.
And you know where each one is coming from, even without playing any of the games.
Yeah.
Previous games. There's a very heavy undertone of father-son relationship, and even extends to, like, this day and age of, you know, fathers growing up being stoic, being manly, not showing emotion, and trying to instill that in their sons.
Yeah.
Who don't necessarily see the world that way, or don't want to see the world that way.
Yeah, who has a different worldview, a different generation. And yeah, it's interesting. The game does it convincingly, but it is easy to kind of fall into the whole, like, oh, well, this is just a bunch of developers who are dads now. Like, we got into the dad era of game development where they're all getting older, and so they're thinking about being fathers. Like, yeah, it's easy to get cynical about it.
Right.
But I think they're doing a pretty good job for the task at hand. They're making a convincing father and son story in a video game, which is hard to do, especially in a video game franchise known for being over the top and ridiculous.
Yes.
There is no sex minigame in this God of War. We should not tell you that.
Yet.
There is no way that would ever be tonally appropriate in this game, which is saying something.
Yes.
It is still an M-rated game, but it's so tonally different that you could not make something like that in this game because it's just so much of a more serious narrative. Though there are moments of comic relief, you get kind of comic relief in the shopkeeper dwarves.
They're brothers, so they banter to each other when they're not together.
Yeah, they're fun. Yes. So yeah, it
You
does
have
have
the
its
witch,
moments, and even the dynamic
trigger.
between the father and son does get funny sometimes. You have this whole where Kratos tells stories on the boats, and he doesn't realize how boring and inane his stories are.
Because he wants to get to the point of each story without the grandeur.
Yeah, he's not about
story.
embellishment. Kratos turns out. But yeah, it's a fun game narratively so far.
Yes, and I will, out of everything this game does, I have to give credit to Thor, the movies, out of everything. Because I feel like without that universe, the Marvel Universe, and the 3 Thor movies that we've had, not a lot of people would be into, or at least have a general basis for Norse mythology. General basis. For Norse mythology.
I mean, unless you're the kind of person who is into that kind of thing, like you are with Greek mythology.
Right, but I think it's more common to have Greek mythology because you're taught that in school instead of Norse.
It's not as well known. You're right.
Yes,
and so it is kind of interesting. Now we have yet another piece of major
pop culture.
Culture. We're talking about Norse mythology in this way, which is cool.
Yeah. So because like Thor movies have like this general basis of 9 realms from Thor to the Dark World, the Dark Elves from Thor the Dark World, Thor from Thor the Dark World, Odin from Thor the Dark World. Wow, Thor the Dark World is actually not a pretty good mythology movie. Jesting aside, but yeah, the Thor movies and like what they've been able to bring to the table in terms of getting people inundated with Norse mythology has definitely helped, at least from my perspective, understanding this world a lot better.
Sure, yeah.
Because it's not just, oh, well, they're doing this because game mechanic. No, they're doing this because that's the mythology.
So, overall, I mean, yeah, it seems like you're enjoying it. It's fun moment to moment, seems. The story's going interesting places. You're not all on board with the upgrade system, which I get.
Yeah.
But it definitely seems like it's malleable enough where you get what you bring to it.
Well, because it becomes why upgrade it if I'm just going to get something better. It's the Borderlands problem of why hang on to this if I'm just going to get something better.
Well, in Borderlands didn't have that problem because you cannot upgrade your weapons.
Well,
you can put mods on them in Borderlands 2, but you can always take that mod off. Right. It's not like the mod is used immediately when it's put on it, like Horizon.
Right, but even Horizon, you were able to
buy the thing that lets you take the mods off. Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, maybe down the line something like that will happen. You think? Then maybe it'll be like, here, maybe redo your weapon adjustments.
Well, I wonder if there's a trophy that says like buy everything.
Maybe.
Because so far the things don't go away, but I've come across anything that just like constantly gives me money.
Right.
Or the heck and silver, to be able to buy everything, and that's my problem of, like, in Mad Max, I have something that constantly gives me money.
Right.
Via time limit, so I can freely spend everything on upgrades. But here, it's by defeating enemies and by picking stuff up, and therefore, in my mind, there's a limited amount of these things out there.
Right.
So I don't want to spend it all in the beginning of the game when I know I'm going to have to spend large chunks of it towards the end.
Which is why what I just said is you get out of it what you take to it. It's
right.
Like you're creating these problems for yourself by the way that you play video games. And other people are going to approach these systems differently.
Yeah.
Like the way you talk about, like the way I'd probably play this is I'd probably put my points in whatever the first thing I get. I'd probably just immediately do that. I probably wouldn't be buying anything.
And I've had it
because I just don't buy anything in video games.
And I've had it in well, it's the same thing with like when I play RPGs and not use any of the health stuff because I'm gonna need that health stuff for when I really need it later, and I never end up doing it.
And I used to do that until I learned better, and now I actually use that stuff. So yeah, it depends on how you play it, but overall, it seems like you're being
I'm nitpicking here.
Nitpicking because it seems like generally speaking, you're really enjoying it.
Generally speaking.
So yeah,
God of War is a great game. This is definitely a buy game.
Yeah,
you're gonna sink a lot of hours into this thing. This is not a rent it. I'm gonna play it over the weekend and beat it. No, this is I'm gonna have to sit down and go through everything this game has to offer because it is a lot. And I'm not just talking about this is before you get into reading the lore of everything you pick up. This is just playing the game and picking things up as you go along.
So yeah, needless to say, if you guys own a PS4, especially a PS4 Pro, pick this up. Oh yeah, we didn't even mention it looks amazing.
Oh yeah. And by the way, outside of story, it looks great.
Yeah, like not only is it cool, but like to play and it's telling an interesting story. But man, it overworks your PlayStation. Our Pro, frickin' the fan sounds like it's going to take flight at any moment. Just fly right out the window. That is how loud the fan spins. But man, it pulls it off because the graphics are so good.
Oh, yes. And one really key directorial thing about this is that it's supposed to be one shot.
Yeah.
There is no cutscene,
which becomes pause, which technically.
Or if you fast travel, because then you go through like a bright doorway, so it flashes.
Right.
But you don't have to do any of that. Still, you could technically play this game through in without ever having a cutscene, which
Yeah.
comes to the question of, am I entering a cutscene?
No.
But it's like so seamless that it doesn't cut, doesn't jar. It just automatically throws you into a cutscene.
Yeah.
But it doesn't cut, so it's still a scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really interesting take.
It is.
First of its kind that I've seen, and I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying immensely this game. And it's gonna be a shame not to play a whole weekend without it. But yeah, this game is great. Definitely pick it up. I think we've talked enough about this. So let's wrap it up.
Let's
Time
wrap
to
it
plug
up.
things in.
Real quick in video games. Next week.
Oh,
we
wait.
will be...
Real quickly. If you want to watch us stream some God of War.
Yes, we've been streaming God of War.
Yes. That is on Twitch.
Twitch.tv/MediaVote.
Yes. Follow us. You'll get updates of when we go live. Well, we don't have a set schedule for this, but we will go live. We've been playing every day. I've been playing every day so far.
Yeah.
Roughly an hour, maybe more.
Are you going to play some after we're done here?
I may, yeah.
I figured you would. So yeah, catch that after the show if you're watching this live.
But yeah, let's plug it. Plug it away.
All right, so that'll do it for the Media Boat podcast this week. But we will be back, of course, next week for another live show at 8:00 p.m. Pacific time here on YouTube. Search youtube.com/media, or no, I don't know what the exact address is. Search Media Boat Podcast on YouTube, and you'll find our page if you're not already on it right now. You can also subscribe to our page. Click on that bell, and you'll get notifications when we go live, which is also really cool. If you want to hear the audio version of our podcast, we're available on all sorts of different pod-catching devices out there, notably Apple Podcasts. So check us there. Leave us a review if you'd like. Give us some stars. We appreciate that. If you want to go to our website and read stuff that we've written, that's MediaBoatPodcast.com. That is where you can read our some news stories occasionally, some features occasionally. I've been slacking on that.
Some thoughts that we do.
Thoughts about things we've seen, listened to, or played.
Yep.
Soon we will have plenty of those, I'm sure. And if you want to support us with money as well as views, you can also go to patreon.com/MediaBoat, where you can donate as little as $1
You can get through this.
a month. As little as $1 a month, you can just help us out financially. So do that if you'd like to. You can also find us on social media. We're at MediaBoatcast on Twitter, or you can find us on Facebook if you search MediaBoat Podcast. And you can lastly find us playing video games on twitch.tv/MediaBoat anytime.
Alright, we're good.
That'll do it. I'm watching a bear scratch himself on a tree, and it is funny to me. Alright, we'll see you guys next week for another edition of the Media Boat Podcast.
Yes, thank you all for listening. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
It's just funny. I don't know.
YouTube after show.
Shaking that bear back.
No doctor, because she's packing for Stagecoach.
She's mad packing.
Yep, which I have to do too, but I'll do that in the morning.
Packing.
I'll do that in the morning. All my stuff's clean. Or at least I have stuff I can wear that's clean. Alright, thank you all for listening, for watching us. We'll be back next week, 8 o'clock, right here, Wednesday on YouTube. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.